Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Excuse me! Taxi!
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, we are back, and with us today is General Jack Keane. And General, I mean, everybody's up and nobody really knows what's going on. Any indication from your friends?
Well, I think the negotiations, as we see unfolding, are running its course. And, you know, I really think the negotiations are leading nowhere. And the reason is Iran is it based on an ideology, and these are diabolical leaders that are obsessed with their own ideology, and you're not going to change them. One, they want to recover their nuclear capability that was destroyed. And despite any negotiations to the contrary, where they would agree, even with verification, they would still try to recover at a secret site someplace. Two, they're already recovering their ballistic missiles, and that's one of the concerns we have. We want to stop that as soon as possible. Number two, they're already supporting the proxies in the region, and they want them to get back the capability so they can do what? So they can attack Israel and also disrupt things in the region. And Iran has already demonstrated, John, that they're willing to kill as many people as necessary for them to stay in power. So no matter what the outcome of the negotiations, in my judgment, Iran is never going to abide by any of it. And we have a 46-year history of them lying and cheating. Therefore, the preferred option is a military option, a combined strike with Israel and the United States that's very comprehensive to put this regime once and for all to set the conditions for their collapse. And I think that is absolutely achievable.
General, what kind of targets do you think you would be looking at? You know, that we would hit, that Israel would hit. What would you think are the Revolutionary Guard headquarters? What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, I think they're pretty obvious. I'm not talking about any insight that I may particularly have here. Just looking at it from experience and what has been done already in the 12-day war, I think when you start with leadership, it would likely be civilian and military. The Israelis, the last time, was largely all military and nuclear scientists. I think both civilian, national, and military leaders be included. The entire infrastructure that sustains the regime would likely be deliberately and methodically dismembered. This would be the IRGC Quds Force, the Basel militia, the police infrastructure itself, even the defense industrial base that sustains all of this, I think would all be likely targets. And obviously, their retaliation means is short-range and medium-range ballistic missiles, rockets, and the hundreds, if not thousands, of drones that they have at their storage sites. And also, whatever attempts they may be making to recover their nuclear program. I mean, there are likely other targets, certainly beyond what I'm thinking about here. I mean, we have excellent planners. You saw what the Israelis did for 12 days. Add to that the United States planners as well, complementing each other. The targets would be comprehensive for sure. And I think we're literally setting the conditions for a regime collapse.
Well, I guess we just have to wait and see. General, what do you think?
We don't have much choice, John.
No, not much choice.
General, I'm curious. You talk about sort of the next step, and just like there seems to be a little bit of. Well,
it's 1 o'clock in the morning in Iran now, right. So the likelihood of tonight is probably gone already.
Is it gone already, General?
Is what gone already?
Is the window if it were to be tonight?
Well, I don't have any insight as to when it's going to be.
We're just talking in general.
Yeah,
we're just talking in general. Yeah, the other thing I'm thinking too, General, is I'm wondering, you hear sort of the what's next. There seems to be there's a couple different groups that are warring for sort of what's next. How important is it to line up the what's next, or what are you hearing? Like you hear Reza Pahlavi, the son of the Shah, but then you also hear there's other groups, right? There's all these groups, and that's why there seems to be a number of different folks or different groups that are sort of looking for a position. Do you need to have sort of a clear group, or what are you hearing? What's next?
Well, first of all, we're making too much out of what is next. Even when we took down regimes using ground forces so we would be decisive about removing that regime, and I'm talking about Panama in 89 with Noriega, 94 in Haiti, restoring Aristide to power, 2001 in Afghanistan, 2003 in Iraq. Even when you do that and you're making a conscious regime change, the future is you always struggle for what that future will be. And we've seen that in those kind of conflicts. We make too much out of the fact that, well, we don't know who is going to be in charge. Well, we do know a couple of things that are pretty factual. Most authoritarian regimes that get deposed, either by their own people or by force, lead to another authoritarian regime. And that's likely to be the case. And hopefully they would be nationalistic leaders as opposed to these ideological, diabolical leaders we have right now. I think that would likely be the case. And whoever it is, we would likely have the opportunity to bend them to our will, much as we're doing in Venezuela and Afghanistan.
Exactly. That's what I was just thinking of. Yep.
And we'll have huge leverage over them, to be sure, given the devastation that we have just wreaked on them. And we have people out there, the situation is ambiguous. We don't know what the decisive outcome is going to be. Well, let me tell you, folks, that's the nature of war itself. And that's the reality of what we're dealing with. It doesn't mean that we don't do the operation. Let's just reverse this and say, let's say we don't do anything. So what have we just done once we make that decision? We have thrown a lifeline to this regime, and we're likely going to have it for another 10 years. Does that make any sense to anybody, given how weak they are, how vulnerable they are right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Zero cents.
Zero cents. Jack, we agree. General, thank you so much. Great points, Jack. Thank you very much, Jack.
Thank you, General.
Keep us posted.
Let's stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.